Welcome back, everybody. My name is Mr. Reality from At Reality Forecast on YouTube, and I'm joined with Liz Cross. Hey, Liz, how are you?
Great, thank you.
We're going down the Cresta probe from your Patreon members, and someone said, hey, I'd like to know a lot more about the Antichrist. And I thought, really? Really? So here we are.
Here we are. Okay, where do we start with this one?
I don't know. I think we want to bring in the power of who do we want to get like a shield, right? We want to get the protection. So we could call in Archangel Michael to ask him questions, sort of as an intermediary for the Antichrist. What do you think about that?
Yeah, we can do that.
That seems like it's safer, right?
Yeah, or we can ask Source.
Okay. Source. Bring him in.
Always here. Don't worry.
So who's in the chair? Who are we discussing this with?
We've got Michael and Source.
Okay. Can they provide us some information about the background of the next Antichrist?
Is there going to be Antichrist? The next Antichrist? I didn't know that there was a first one. You mean on the Earth plane or in the universe?
Nostradamus talked about there being 3 Antichrists, and maybe they don't think of the other people as Antichrist, but let's talk about what they believe in their perception of the next Antichrist or the Antichrist. Do they feel it's a singular person or an energy?
Right. I'll tell you now, as I'm asking these questions, my throat is tight. Okay. So these questions are not great. As in,
You want to stop the
no,
show?
no, no, no.
Right.
As in, this is an uncomfortable topic for Source. Sometimes we're just not supposed to probe these things. Anyway, what about the next Antichrist on the earth? I'm getting no. The Antichrist is not on the earth plane. The Antichrist exists on the dark side, and not so much on the earth plane. All the souls, but do the souls turn into the Antichrist? Yes, they can. When they're taken over to the dark, they're turned into like Antichrist like souls. Have you lost many souls over to the dark? Yes, yes, he has. Source has lost a lot of souls over to the dark. And what happens to those souls when they go to the dark? They are revealed. What do you mean they are revealed? Like their purpose is revealed, as in the whole scenario of why the souls were created in the first place. Yes. And they know they have to fight a war. Yes. Okay. But what happens to those souls when they go over to the dark? They work for the dark. You become the enemy. You become, opposite to Christ. Source. That's what I'm getting.
To me, it feels like in the spiritual war between light and dark, the light is losing more of its warriors because people are turning away from religion. Is Source and Michael afraid that people are focusing more on the dark's influences currently?
People are focusing more on, absolutely, they're easily hijacked. Now it's not so much about turning away from religion, though. That's not the source of evil, because religion can also be evil if it's gone to the extreme. A lot of things have been done in the name of religion that were evil acts, and religion was just the disguise. But definitely, are we getting more people that are atheists on a level that we've never seen before? Yes. Is that dangerous? And Source says, according to Source's personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions, not mine, the Source believes that is dangerous. You have to have some sort of belief system. But I'm saying, but what about societal? You're growing up in a society that is, pretty much devoid of religion, or family that's devoid of religion, and you come from a long line of atheists. Well, the challenge is to find your way home. You have no one to call upon when you are an atheist, is what I'm getting.
There's a lot of war on television, and I feel like that draws people in. And during these times, people wonder, is the Antichrist near? And so do these entities that we're discussing, do they believe that an incarnation of the physical Antichrist is due or will come down to the earth plane within the next 25 years, 50 years, 100 years?
Do you believe it's because of a lot of war? Well, it's a lot of infiltration of the consciousness, I mean, certainly in the early days of religion, it was about keeping the consciousness pure, but then religion became in control and then became a business. But overall, it's about keeping your consciousness pure.
But do they feel that the personification of the Antichrist energy will incarnate on earth?
Do you feel that the personification of the Antichrist energy, it's already here?
So we want to understand who that personification is, or does it move from one person to another person to another person to another person?
Ooh, is it just instilled in one person? No, it goes across the collective. That was a good question.
And we see that in what areas does it most rear its head?
Which areas does it rear its head? Mainly in the abuse of children.
And that's one area that's very disgusting and horrific and happens all the globe over. And it's something that, what other areas does it rear its head into?
What other areas does it rear its head into? Torture. What else does it rear its head into? Enslavement, trafficking. Those sorts of things. Those are really the societal lows, right?
When you talk about enslavement, I think about dictatorial political systems. And is it in political systems as well? Do they find they rise to power?
Is that how political systems? Well, oppression is how you rise to power quickly. If you oppress a population.
Does this Antichrist energy have the power to move into other people and operate more than one person at a time?
I mean, it has that power, yes. But I think at this point we have to define what Antichrist is.
Let's do that.
And I'm getting it's like dark energy. So if it's just defined as dark energy, then we all have the ability to be of that energy, right? It depends how much and how far that dark energy is willing to go. But all of us possess light and dark. We're just magnets for that stuff. We have light and we have dark. I'm saying, do we have gray? Yes, we have gray as well. Everything isn't so black and white. There's a lot of energy that comes in that has the potential to be light or dark.
And so this battleground really that we live on, this incarnation that we live on, are there any specific things that people listening now should do to protect themselves from the clutches or the pitfalls of what the Antichrist energy can provide for them? You know, how do we safeguard our soul not going to the dark side?
To the dark side. Well, simplistically, follow the light is what I'm getting. That's what I got from source. Follow the light. Now, following the light, you've got to dig deep in that, because following the light means many things to many different people. You can see darkness coming in, or a negative event coming in, as an opportunity to go towards the light. But that depends on the severity of the event, right? If it's something like you've had an argument with someone, well, you can use that as going towards the light. Maybe you needed to see that aspect of that person to understand that you no longer need to associate with that person. But then when you have an event like war and the atrocities and the human rights violations that are committed during wartime, I think that you would have to really dig deep in order to find the light in that.
When we first started this, I got the idea that there's a lot of the darkness masquerading as the light. So I say, trust your gut. When people try to pull you into something, if your gut's telling you, nah, trust your gut and back away, because there are many masks that the dark wears.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally. I mean, gut instinct is there for a reason. It was very prominent in our past lives thousands of years ago. And over time, especially with religion, in religions that are be nice, forgive, love, we start to dismiss that gut instinct and just go for the standards that have been set by religion. Pre-religion, gut instinct was the way that we survived. If you had a bad feeling about something, you didn't go into that particular area because you could end up getting killed,
I
right?
think a lion might live in that cave. Well, if you think that,
Yeah,
go the other way.
right, exactly. And you would trust that gut instinct. But now we're like, oh, it's just me. I'm just feeling this particular feeling. Maybe it's my anxiety, and we're putting ourselves in situations. And how many times have we actually said, I had a bad feeling about that person. I had a bad feeling about this. I had a bad feeling about that. And I didn't trust it. And so those are lessons that have to be learned from. So that's another opportunity. When you have a lesson like that, will you still continue to dismiss your gut instinct? And if you do, then there'll be plenty more lessons on the way. You have to trust your gut instinct.
So this ties into the current events too. What role does culture and historical context play into shaping or giving energy to this Antichrist energy?
So with the current events, you have to think more long term And a lot of times, long term is beyond our existence on the earth plane. The effects of what's happening today around the world may not be seen until 100 years out.
Right. It's not always going to happen in our lifetime. It may happen in the future. That
Right.
long
So,
count.
right, exactly. So, it may bring about a short-term awareness, which is good for man. We go through life, most of us, especially here in the West, we don't have a clue what's going on out there in the world, right? And we get so disgusted with the news that we don't even watch it. Now I understand that. Who wants to turn on the news and feel bad every time you watch the news? But then when we have events that are happening around the world, and you can't avoid it, as in the talk is everywhere, it brings us into this further awareness. But with like things like war, a lot of times you have to look far beyond, decades beyond war, to figure out, oh well, maybe that there was some good that came out of that after all. But even then, you're still searching. It's very difficult to find the good.
Well, I'd like to thank the spiritual protection mechanisms that have come through during this source, Archangel Michael, Liz Cross, and everyone else out there listening. We'll come back to this another time, but thank you so much, Liz.
Thank you. I think we're going to have to get a lot of questions on this. Collecting questions. So for those of you that are on the patreon.com/remote viewing and beyond, by the way, if you're not there, you're not seeing all the videos, folks. You're just not. But those of you that are there, I think we're going to try to collect some more questions on this and figure out what this is. I think that we tried to label Antichrist as some pinpointed figure when actually it's an energy, and the energy is spread out far and wide. So that's something that I've learned in this probe. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. We'll do it again next time. Thank you, Liz.